Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Sorry, I'm just going to shut my door. I hope everybody is okay. Hiya, Andy Red Volvo. Yes, Daniel, Sarah. First 3 comments on an hour earlier. I can't wait. I'm watching all the streams. It's my birthday today. No way, man. 54 years old. So I was born in the Glodwick area of Oldham. I was actually born in my mum's double bed on our house on Marlborough Street. And these are old houses. So as our family grew, we needed bigger housing. We moved to Chief Street in the same area. And through all the 60s and 70s, my dad was getting the West Indian Association up and running in Oldham, Kitty Man's, and then the West Indian Club. And then it finally ended up in the town centre. But as our family grew, we moved out again. So we moved down to Godstone Street, where Trinity House is now. We lived in some tourist houses there. And then we moved, our final move to the last 2 places was that we moved to Shaw Road Estate, Edgerton Street. And we did all our junior school in there. Went to Grange School in the seniors. And then when we started to leave the nest, then my mum and dad downsized then and got a 3-bedroomed house on Calder. So yeah, 54 years old today. But yeah, I'm still enjoying everything I do and stuff. So the Batley thing. So obviously I've got an issue with political correctness. The same things going on in Batley have been going on in Oldham, going on in Birmingham, and more or less across the country. And no one says nothing. No one says anything because they don't want to upset certain communities, and that is wrong. Being politically correct does not make you correct. And through political correctness, girls have been raped, people have been killed, and people have been ignored, people have had the kids took off them, people are demonized, and stuff like that. There was the Conservative member Lou Dickens, who came up to Batley. She ended up getting an interview with George Galloway and then an interview with Jada Franson, and then it's gone online now straight away. Labour candidate saw a newspaper report done by, let me just find the newspaper report. Just let me find the newspaper report now. Hold on a sec. Right. Well, Daniel must have sent it me then. Sorry, guys. And I'll look at the chat in a minute. Right. Well, it must be on WhatsApp then. So yeah, so she'd done a couple of interviews, talked to Jada. I was there. I recorded it, and some reporters, the Conservative Party must answer. So you go and talk to somebody that they don't like, and that gets you in trouble. When is that ever backwards? When is that ever the right way to do? Nobody is going to tell me who I can talk to and who I'm not going to talk to. Nobody. Not no journalist, not no policeman, not no councillor, not no Conservative. Nobody in the world is going to tell me who I can't talk to. And that goes for people on the right as well. If I want to talk with, say, Anne-Marie Waters, my choice. I I don't impress on other people who not to talk to, unless there's a personal grievance like Busker, who always causes trouble between everyone. GS and Wake Up UK, they certainly can be called out, and every time I talk about them, like the scum, yeah. But you know, we live in a world where we're supposed to be able to talk to people. It doesn't matter who you talk to or what beliefs, you can talk to these people. So they're going for Louise now, saying that the Conservative Party have got to answer. Who is it? Who is it? So you're part of the Conservative Party. So being part of the Conservative Party, you can't talk to that person because they have a different view. Honestly, it's just never going to work. That it's not going to work with me. It's certainly not going to work with me. So Lou's having a bit of an hard time. She only went interviewing. She only went to interview people. She ended up getting a chat with George Galloway. She didn't interview the Tory candidate. He didn't want to be interviewed. We all know why, because he's not going to say anything about a school teacher. Nobody in that constituency, except for a couple of people, said anything about that school teacher. And most of you went and carried on voting Labour or Conservative. So, I mean, next time it could be your child that they don't want to talk about. And who are you gonna ask then? Are you just gonna leave your child into political correctness? The thing down to political. Honestly, I loved it in Batley. I like the people who were there. Right, I'm gonna go to the chat and see what I can see in the chat. Very much so, Toddy. You know, they have on voting day, I stood outside the polling station and did a stream, and I was shouting, but I wasn't telling anyone to vote for any particular group. I know the rules. And the main thing, when the coppers come up, I told them that I want people to vote. And that's what I shouted. I said, if you want to set in your constituency, whoever you're going to vote for, get your asses out and vote. And it was a really crap turnout. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Matt Blank Bolton. Oh, one of my channels has gone off. Oh no, it hasn't. So yeah, and the policeman come up, and I said, he asked me my name, and I said John. He said, second name, and I went, I'm not telling you. Oh, I don't have to tell you that. And I didn't have to tell him that. Although I think they already knew who I was, because they would have been watching my live streams. So I got there last Friday. I did a video on Joe Cox, which I've been wanting to do for a couple of years. I wanted to go to Birstall for that video to do with Joe Cox. I've talked about it on my channel many times. And when people found out that I was for when I told people, why are you here? I said, well, first thing is Joe Cox video, because that's the first thing I did in Birstall, was do that video on Joe Cox that I've wanted to do for a couple of years. Anybody who knows me would have heard me talk about it on my show many times. I've done posts about it and everything. And of course, I wanted to protect the rights of the school teacher. Now, I supported Tracy Hurst and Graham Moore, Daddy Dragon, and Tracy said to me that she'd been warned not to go to the school and do a video. She said that to me on Thursday before the count. So straight away, me and Pete, my mate, who come up from Ashton, no, we'll go and do the video. We went to the school. We wasn't at the point where everyone was coming out of the school. Everyone was in the school. And we did less than a 10-minute video outside the school gates and the sign. And then we got off. But she'd been told not to go and do a video. So, you know, like, and she lives in Bradford, you know, and you can't go to that certain area. The elections themselves, as we've seen, there's been no media coverage on the lesser parties, UKIP, Jade France and Army Reuters. Even the Freedom Alliance didn't get any kind of coverage off the media. And the candidate running for the Freedom Alliance lives in Batley and Spen. He has a right to be there. And when local people were telling me, oh, none of them are born in Batley and Spen except for Kim Leadbeater. Sorry, Jonathan Tilt, Freedom Alliance is his constituency. So that's a lie. It's a lie. No matter what anyone says, it's a lie. It's not one person. And there were other people who were running who were from Batley and Spen. So now, I haven't got an issue as long as that person who's coming in is going to take care of all the community. And talking to people in Batley, it's a lot like Oldham, a lot of violent crime. Some woman was saying how outside her house someone got macheted up. Then I turned around and told her that 2 houses with families in were shot at with a shotgun just not so long ago. And there's machete attacks and all that in Oldham, the same as in Batley. Drugs, she said, oh, there's drug dealers all over Oldham as well, running around with the little mobs selling drugs all over Oldham, which is one of the worst areas in the country for heroin. So when the woman was saying that all the same things that were going on in her community are going on in my community, right down to yes, Tigers Bay. They certainly did White Night. They did. And I mean, obviously, anything that were mentioned about Kim Leadbeater, Kim Leadbeater murdered Joe Cox, who by a right-winger's sister, she's running. And I mean, putting her in position that the Labour Party were desperate. That's why they had to put somebody in like that. And obviously, once you put someone in like that, a lot of Joe Cox was killed by a right winger comes up. No, sorry, it don't work like that. So I managed to get some time with George Galloway. Now, what do I think of George Galloway? Now, I don't like his politics. I don't like his support for Palestine, right? But I've seen a lot about George Galloway since he was in the Respect Party in Bradford, 2000, I can't remember, 9, 10 or something like that. Yes, Frankie Jazz. And I like the guy. I like the guy who's called George. I might not like George Galloway, the politician, but I like the guy called George. I do. I'm sorry if it upsets people. I'm like this, me. Remember, just because someone has a different view doesn't mean that I'm their arch enemy. It's never like that with me. I'll talk to anyone who has a different view or anything like that. I'll talk to a lefty. I'll talk to a far righty. I'll talk to far left Antifa. We have to communicate, and I'll talk to anyone. And I found him all right to talk to. And some of the things I've seen him and some of the things he supports, I'm wholly behind the LGBT stuff in schools. But in my little interview, I said, do we need to have violence to stop these things? Can't we all come together and get it out of our schools? That's what I said to him. I don't want violence. I don't want people threatening people. I don't want violence to get anything that we want. Action, yeah. Towing the line, yeah. But I don't want blood and violence. But we have to stretch the barrier and we have to test the waters every now and then to see how far we can step over the line. But I don't want violence. And I know we can solve a lot of issues without violence. Really, we need to start voting. We need to start voting different parties in. If we would have had if we would have had proportionate voting when UKIP got their 3 million votes, just imagine how much power that UKIP would have had in the government then to make changes, to change policies and stuff like that. And they're trying to break us up so we don't get to that point. Some people think it's a waste of time. Well, the only other thing to do is to go in and burn everyone and kill everyone. There's either that way to do it, or you can get in behind people, start voting, change the reform the Electoral Commission, which is I want to do, and get people in power. So it's just two choices. Now, I prefer not to do the killing and hanging of all the traitors. I prefer not to do that because I'm a Christian, and I don't think that we should take lives like that. So the only other way is to vote. There is no other way. There is no other way. People said voting's all bullshit, it's all rigged. Well, the only way you're going to get anything is to chop everyone and hang everyone in Parliament. And that's not, we don't want to go down that road. Once we go down that road, we're on the path to hell. So we have to do it by ourselves, publicly supporting each other. Yes, man, Dave. Yes, Brett Fisher. Right, well, if it was rigged, Daniel, you've been through the process. We need to stop that. We need to start calling them out. We need to be vote agents, and then we need to call them out when we have to. That's what we need to do. So it's not going to stop straight away, but we can do this. Councils will become more transparent once we have other different people in, rather than all Labour. All Labour, half of them Muslim, the other half liberal, and with political correctness, they're always going to win. But once we break them up, get independents in, other parties in, that will have to stop. More transparency. And a council dominated by a Labour group, there might be 20 seats in the constituency, and Labour have got 15 of them. We just have to start getting people voted in. And once they lose the majority, then they have to answer to everyone else in the council. It's really obvious, and it is a really simple way to go. But I don't think people get it. I don't think people get it. And I'm not saying that elections are not rigged. I'm guessing some will be rigged, but it's up to us to point this out and to get change coming. Well, June, I've been through the process, and I've pointed out that there is things wrong. Me and Daniel have pointed out where they didn't seal boxes, or boxes weren't sealed properly. We've pointed this out, but it's up to us to change all that once more people get voted in. So we've seen the snidiness from everyone on. I mean, the Labour Party is a bully party. And I can see that the Muslims within the Labour Party who were supporting Kim Leadbeater were nearly at fighting with the other Muslims in George's party. It's just unbelievable. He should be able to get a recount on 300 odd, which is less than 1%, and you could call a recount on anything under 1%. He should be able to get a recount, and I would want a recount as well. It's up to us now. It's up to George and Daddy Dragon to get onto the Electoral Commission and the returning officer and get things changed. Once the council see that they're not going to be getting away with it, things will change. And this has already happened in Sunderland. In Sunderland, just normal people have stood up and they've called out the council for transparency. And the council has had to be more transparent in Sunderland. And with that transparency coming, more things are coming out that they've done wrong and corrupt things. Again, it's happening in Bolton. Clownsill, he's doing the same. He's calling them out. And I'll call him out. If I know that a councillor has been corrupt or anything, I'll call his name outside the council chambers. I'll go down to his local area and tell everyone how corrupt he is and what he's done. Oh, yeah, we have to. So we just need to get more involved. The more involved we get in the vote process, the more we can end up reforming it. But that's for later on. That's for later on. So I really did enjoy the election. There was a lot of money pumped in off George Galloway's team, Kim Leadbeater's team. I'm guessing the Conservatives and the Lib Dems did spend money because they had their signs on every stinking lamppost in Batley and Spen. But still, nobody's talked about the school teacher. I've got George saying to me that if he would have come in, if he would have won that seat, he'd have gone to see Prime Minister and escorted a teacher back to school. He's the only person, other than Anne-Marie Waters, Jada Franson, Jack Thompson, Teresa Hurst, Daddy Dragon, and a load of others who said anything in the top top members, the big people at the top. And it's just ridiculous. Obviously, the lefties were there. I think they tried setting me up. I got an interview with Channel 4 to do with the Empire. And then I got the Muslim activist. Let me just find his name. Actually, I've got it written down in my book somewhere. He is, yeah. He is Paul Dunlop. He is. And I support both him and the Electoral Commission. 100%. 100%. Yeah, so, and then I got, I was able to chat with, if I can find his stinking name. I'm so not organised, me with my notebook. I really not. Yeah, his name was Yunus Luna, and he was the guy who come on and said on Sky News, asking people to keep calm because of what was going on. He was the one who came on and said that. So I talked to him. Obviously, everyone would have seen my videos. That's what, and I think that's another reason why there was a big lefty crew as well. Because a few of them I knew, and they came over to show the faces that they were there. So yeah, a few of them come on. A few people come over talking to me. Right, so in the cheating thing, George Galloway's asked for a recount. The returning officer has said no. But until you see the process, Matt Blank, until you're a vote agent and you can see how bad the system is. Right, so I was a vote agent in Barnsley. Now, we went to one of the local polling stations, and as a vote agent, I'm allowed to go in and seal or take a photograph of any, or take a seal number on any box that is sealed to go to the main office. So on the Thursday, I think it was a Thursday. Yeah, it was a Thursday. I went at 10 o'clock to my point, and Daniel went to his. And I went in. My name's John Lawrence. I'm a vote agent for Daniel Simpson. I'm on the list. I've got identification, although they never asked for any. And I said I want to check or put a seal on the box. So when I went to the box only had room for one seal. But we are, as vote agents and a candidate, you're allowed to seal that box. But there's only enough room for one seal. So in front of me, the guy was sealing the box so I could get the number. He failed to seal the seal 3 times. And on the 3rd time, I pointed out to him that he needs to turn the cable and pull it tight. And when he'd done it, he went and pulled it really tight like that. But if I hadn't been there, would he have sealed that box? He might not have. And that's a breach. That's a breach. That the box should be sealed from that count hall, the polling station, and not opened again until the day of the count. That's in the electoral thing. So there's all these little things that you see. And Daniel were there. They started to open the seals at the big count without anyone asking to check seal numbers. No one asked us or any, honestly. So there's a lot of things in the process that can be corrupted and stuff like that. And I wouldn't trust a polling station like I've got one at back here, Bangladeshi polling station. I don't trust that polling station, mate, because the guys on polling day were fighting. The candidates were practically fighting outside the polling station. No police went to it. If it had been white people, you'd all been arrested and fucked off into the cells. But because it's Bangladeshis and the police love political correctness, no one's been looked at. Someone said that there may be an investigation into it. But so I'm a vote agent, so I can see all this. So it's up to us to make sure. In an election, Daniel will tell you, Daniel's elected. Daniel has run twice, and he knows what he's talking about in the process. So Freedom of Britain is in the thing. He's run twice, once as UKIP, once as an independent. He knows what he's talking about, and he's a good... Daniel asked me to help him, and I did, and I learned a lot about the voting process, but I also learned where it can be corrupted. It's up to us to stop that corruption. Normally, you can have 10 vote agents for one candidate. So you can have somebody at every polling station checking the seals going on these boxes. Then on polling day, when they get opened, we check them again. It's just as simple as that. That will cut down fraud straight away. These are the things that we have to do. We have to keep on top of this, get more people to open their eyes and getting involved in counting and being a vote agent. So going forward, Wakefield is next up. Now let me get sharing a screen. Wakefield MP Imran Ahmad Khan charged with historic sexual assault of a teenager, and he's a Conservative MP, and it happened in 2008. Just couldn't believe it, could you? He grew up to 15-year-old in Staffordshire in 2008. I think he's been suspended, but he's still an independent. Now, his seat might be coming up. If anything else happens and he gets kicked out, his seat will come up. So there'll be another by-election in Wakefield. So what do we want? We want somebody in Wakefield to stand up and get involved. So if you're already a patriot, you might have run before, get in contact with me, and we'll help. We'll help in Wakefield. Until I run myself, I'll help anybody out. So Wakefield's coming up now. I was talking to the Freedom Party Alliance members, Jonathan Tilt, some of his members, and one of the girls who came to Batley lives in Wakefield. And if she said to me, if he gets kicked out and the by-election comes, she's going to run in it for the Freedom Alliance. Brilliant stuff, honestly. And this is somebody who's not politically motivated, but they want to make a change. So Wakefield looks like maybe the next by-election. So hopefully we'll have someone stand up in Wakefield and we can go up and support them, go door knocking. I'll do all that, mate, as much as I can. No doubt that probably the British Freedom Party will get to Wakefield if there's another by-election. I don't know about for Britain if they're going to go. And Wakefield is a bit of a dodgy area, not just because of this by-election, but there's been a lot of grooming and people convicted of grooming from the Wakefield area. So it's going to be another politically correct area. But it's up to us to get up there, help people, support people to whatever they want. Yeah, the captain, the postal votes, well, we can look at that. That's another one that needs reform. I'm on for ID voting, me, and I'm on to stop all postal voting unless you're a cripple or like my mum, you can't walk. That's the only way. That's the only way. I'm not going to open my doors to let everyone do it. No. And I mean, if it's really, you'd have to speak English to vote. You know what I mean? But anyway, we won't go down that route. We won't go down that route. But yeah, so ID thing. They've let a lot of postal votes go through because of this COVID thing, which I think is another trick of theirs to make it easier for them to win elections, because they know that the more people are standing up, there's 167 more. There's 167. This number's rising all the time of people making their own parties, causing havoc in councils where they were dominated by Labour one day, then the next day there's independents in, and they're not getting away with as much stuff when you get other people in independents. Oldham's council now has got a couple of independents in, and there's more coming. There's more coming. Oldham Council will get more independents. I'm positively sure it. Proud of Oldham and Saddleworth. It won't be long before more of them members are going to get council seats, because everyone's pissed off with the mainstream parties. I mean, in 2019, hustings in Cheetham Hill, when I said about the Labour Party, everybody in that hall, 100%, well, 95% Muslims. The way I dressed it, I said to Graham Stringer, 30-year veteran, I said, the thing is, the Labour Party don't deal with problems when they arise. And that was one of the reasons why the Oldham riots ended up happening, because they weren't willing to deal them through political correctness. And everybody in the room clapped their hands when I said that about the Labour Party. So, you know, the Labour Party, they're losing the votes. But anyway, political correctness, of course, that's a big thing to do with it all. So Wakefield, looking like we'll be in Wakefield soon. And we should be going to Wakefield. Thank you, Linda. Thank you. Yes, honestly, Yvonne, I don't doubt it. Postal votes come out of Moss and Asian business leaders. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. I missed seeing Naz Shah in Bradford. I would have liked to have a few minutes with Naz, but she would never talk to me, because I'd just call her out straight away. I just call her out straight away with, so, Naz, do you think them white girls should shut their mouths for the sake of diversity? That's the first thing I'd said to Naz Shah, me. And that's why she would never talk to me, because she'd crumble. She were out talking to Kim Leadbeater. But yeah, the spineless politicians in Batley, that Kim Leadbeater. I can't believe that woman. I can't believe she. I'm satisfied with the investigation into the school. Well, I'm not satisfied with it. Why isn't it a public investigation? I asked Eunice Luna. He said, "Oh, it's a bit personal. We don't want to be like getting everybody involved into the open." Yeah, on a Sky News broadcast, he says he's waiting and he wants a transparent investigation. Don't transparency mean that like we should know and other people should know instead of keeping it hidden? But no, it's only transparent to the politically correct, such as Kim Leadbeater. It's only transparent to them, but it's not transparent to anyone else. It's just a load of shit, honestly. These MPs and these councillors just they're on notice, mate. They're on notice, guys, because they're going to be losing the seats. They're going to be losing the seats, and besides that, they're going to get convicted of crimes. They're going to get convicted of crimes. You mark my words. You mark my words. Big John always says it. I'm not a prophet or anything. Anything that I talk about that is going to happen is already in the public domain. There's already evidence of it in the public domain. If you think the thing in Rotherham's over, it's not yet. There's court cases going on between the police, the councillors, the social services. All that is going on right now in Rotherham, and it's still. And they've got another 400 guys who was investigating around 2 years ago. It might have dropped that number. But this is happening right now. All these investigations and court cases going ahead. You're going to see more convictions of MPs and councillors and things like this is coming now. It's coming. Even in the light of political correctness, the government have got to throw people under the bus. So they'll start throwing people under the bus first. Then, in the end, they'll start being accused and convicted and things like that. We just need to get these councils more diverse and not keeping them all the same political party. And we'll break them down. And I do see good things coming in the future. I do see good things coming in the future. With myself, I'm going to be starting up my own political party. I'll let you know more about that when it comes. And we've got everything set up for it, more or less, but it is going to come. But I'll take more on that. But yeah, so Wakefield. So what else am I doing? Busy week this week. On the 7th, we've got the Kirkcaldy 29 going up at Bradford Magistrates. "29 men have been charged in connection with child sexual exploitation in Calderdale. The vast majority of the offending occurred in Calderdale, but some offences occurred in the Bradford district. 29 of them going up, and they've got round about 50 rape charges and about 10 to 20 conspiracy to rape, indecent indecent assault and stuff like that, and they're up. So we're going to go to court on that. I'll talk a bit more about the case on the day, and I have got a little bit of information to do with that case. But I just know these cases because a lot of them are linked. A lot of these cases are linked, and there's cases going on all across Yorkshire, as far as Cumbria. There's cases going on now. There's something coming up in Hull as well, but there are a lot of them are connected one way or another. So that they're up on the 7th and 9th at Bradford Magistrates, and definitely going on the 7th. Don't know about the 9th, but I'll definitely going on the 7th. Yeah, nothing's going to be said now, Tina. Nothing, but that's how I'm definitely going. So yeah, 7th and 9th of July. So I'm going on the 7th. I'm not sure about 9th, but I'll certainly be going on the 7th. And there is a couple of patriots who come, a mother and a daughter. If they come, I'm sure I'll get some even more juicier info, because them two, they live up there and they know a lot about what's going on with the cases, a lot to do with guys. And it was them two who was saying about these 29 coming up when we was last at Bradford with Active and Yorkshire Rose. It were these two girls who were telling me that there was more coming. And this is weeks before the article even came out. Boom, the articles come out, and the areas and the things they said to do with the case is almost bang on. So these little proper good couple of patriot girls, and they come on the demos and that, and it's information like that I want. Information lead to I've been to a couple of court cases and pointed out that what others won't say is how violent they are, the kind of charges that are coming on them and stuff like that. And this case was already told to us in December when we was there with Active at Bradford Court by the two girls. They told me that this was coming. So very good information off them two lovelies. But yeah, so that's what's up and coming. I think Wakefield will be the next place. And I mean, if you're in the area and you want to help out, there are going to be several people running there in the Wakefield area. And let's support them. Even if it's a Freedom Alliance member, honestly, I'd support them because that lockdown and the restrictions that we're on is one of the biggest things of our time at the moment that people are kicking off. And the people I've been meeting to do with the Freedom Alliance aren't normally politically active, but they are now. It's a good party to get behind, I think that. They do have liberal values, but let's forget about that. Let's forget about the main aim of that Freedom Alliance is kick off our restrictions and sort all these vaccines things and COVID. Every one of them I talked to, a few of them I talked to, they weren't anti-vaxxers, but they said the right things. Vaccines haven't been tested good enough, and we know they haven't because they're not that effective. That's why we have to have two. So they haven't done the proper studies on them, and they're rushing them forward. And if we look back towards things that have happened in the past with vaccines, when you rush them out, you kill people. Polio in America, millions of kids dead because he rushed it out. So, yeah, just on a break. John, do you think the main parties split the vote, or do they nibble away at incumbents, majorities like Ashola Piranhas? You know, the thing is, what we're all missing is how easy it is to get them to take over the councils. There was a 42. Let me just get the vote majority. The turnout was 47.49. And I did have it written down. That's the worst one they've had. This is a by-election as well. You've seen how much money has been spent by their main parties, and only 47.49% of people turned out to vote. Now, if you could get 10% of them who didn't vote, you'd have won. You'd have won the election by a fucking landslide, just 10%. So there's a really big pocket of people who, there really is a big pocket there of votes. And I think it can be done, me. I think people will vote. More people are standing up because of this freedom and the lockdown restrictions. People who've never been politically active before are getting politically active. We've got people like Jack Thompson, 20 years old, getting into politics. Jordan Gaskill, 18 years old, getting into politics. It used to be taboo at such a young age, but there's more people getting involved. So I can only see it going better. I can really only see it going better. So Heritage Party, 33 votes. Jada Franson, 50. Ollie Purser, Social Democratic Party, 66. Rejoin EU, 75. For Britain, 97. Freedom Alliance, 100. CPA Christian Party, 102. Alliance for Green Socialism, 104. Monster Raving Looney Party, 107. You just couldn't make it up. UKIP, 151. English Democrats, 207. Yorkshire Party, 816. Liberal Democrats, 1,200. Workers' Party, 8,200. Conservatives, 12,000. And Labour, 13,000. And she won by, 300 votes or something. But like I said, the back pedal, the the thing is, it was a low turnout. Let me look at the last by-election results. See what the chat's saying. Yes, Stephen. Something binged at me then. Binged at me then. I've just got to just check in. Social media. Yeah, I think we can do a lot. I think we can change a lot, but it's just getting there and doing it, really. Yvonne just read Sammy Woodhouse's book. No. There's never been any accountability, Yvonne. That's one of the things I go on about, me. I don't give a shit, mate, about religion or anything like that. I know it's an issue, but the thing is, there's never no accountability. So these people are just going to commit the crimes again. So then there's no accountability, not from the council or social service. Honestly, Yvonne, I don't think, and I'm close to a lot of people to do with Rotherham, I don't think anybody has been held to account for any kind of failure on any girl in the Rotherham area, specifically. There might have been charges of this social worker has given drugs to someone, or this social worker as like the social worker might abuse someone, but there's been no accountability of the bosses, the council bosses. When the Jay's report came out, the council just all walked out. All the Labour council just walked out, councillors and all the people, all the senior people, and just went into other jobs and other areas, did counselling in other areas. This is factual, this, and no one was held to account. That's one of my biggest gripes of everything, Yvonne. It's such a makes me angry of that no accountability. And I mean, but you know, like if I was to put a sticker on a lamppost that said burn all the Pakistani houses down, then I would be held to account for my actions. But there's nobody been held to account for failing all them girls. There's nobody been held to account for bullying people into silence, threatening people into silence, especially in Rotherham and everywhere else. But there's no one, no senior police officer has been held to account. And we've got evidence of senior police officers and senior officials saying things where they just might as well have said, we're just going to leave them girls, let them get raped, otherwise the other community is going to kick off and we don't want the trouble. We've got evidence like that from chief inspectors and everything, still no accountability. The Rochdale council leader at the time of the investigation into No View Home, denied he knew anything, but when they did the inquiry, they found out that he did know stuff, and he's never been held to account. He's just been sacked from Labour Party, but still has his house, didn't do any jail time or anything like that. That guy should have been jailed. If he's lied to an inquiry. If you lie in court, you're in trouble. He's lied to an investigation, an inquiry, which it's pretty serious, a government inquiry. And he didn't get in trouble. But this happens across country. These ones, yeah, political correctness. Yes, certainly. One of the biggest things in the Jade report is political correctness, but still, no one held to account. And I mean, once we can start bringing people to account, they'll think twice about being politically correct and about not saying anything. Because if that Labour councillor would have known that he was going to face jail for lying, he might have been a bit more truthful, might have been and set up other names. So we need to force it on him. So we need to take him to court. So Graham's not happy with the count. I wouldn't be happy. Neither is George Galloway. And I think, but the other thing that happened when the English Democrats was campaigning in Batley, they went to a shop at Birstall, and the owner of the shop, no, you're not coming in. And they've ended up finding out that the police came round saying not to let anyone in the shops who are being political parties or whatever. I don't know if he said any particular party in. So Graham's took a stand. Tracy and another woman have took a stand, and we went back to that shop. I went back to that shop on Thursday with Trace, and she went in the shop. And when she come out, she said that, you know, the guy said sorry. He shouldn't, you know, he's got a total misrepresentation of who the people were who were campaigning. And a lot of the lefties were saying EDL and EDL. There was no EDL people there. I don't know why they keep saying that name. Well, obviously, they say it because people will think extreme and all that, but there was no EDL in Batley over the weekend. I just thought it's just a bit confining sometimes when they carry on to say it. And when that guy come over talking to me, he said, "Oh, you with the far right?" I went, "What makes you far right, mate? Do you know anything about me?" He went, "No, I've just been told to come and talk to you." And I went, "Well, go fucking watch my videos first, then come and talk to me." That's what I said to him. So the guy, not knowing who I was, don't know nothing about me, come over and just sort of like said I'm with the far right. You know what I mean? I did mention a school teacher, and a few people like put you know, the eyebrows up. I'm never ever not going to mention that school teacher. I mentioned it to George Galloway. I'll mention it to Kim Leadbeater if she ever come in front of me. I'll mention it to Tory. I'll mention it to every stinking candidate, me, and you know, and see what. But they don't want to. They don't want to face a questioning, and they don't want to face somebody like me calling them out to being politically correct. Okay, now you just couldn't make it up. You just couldn't make it up. So elections. Anybody's interested, contact me. Contact Daniel Simpson. He can give you some hints and tips. Like I said, Daniel's run twice. Dylan in Liverpool's run. Lee Garrett has run as a councillor. There's loads of people running as councillors and standing up. Once you do that, you can see the system and see where we might be able to change it. And I think I can change the system, myself, by pointing out and making sure procedures are kept to. They must have procedures for a minute. That's why these boxes get sealed. There must be some kind of procedure. So we need to look at them procedures, get into them, and then point them out when they're wrong and tell them that they're wrong. You know what I mean? We can do this. It's just that they don't want us to do it, and they know that we're getting more power. I won't come right down to it now. I'm not a prophet or anything, but if someone said to me that all this COVID thing is so that they can vote rig and stop people voting differently, then I believe them, and I would believe them, because it's the kind of thing they do. They're scared of the parties rising up. That's why. I mean, this woman in it's funny, we did meet a lot of people in Batley, but on the last day I was talking to this woman, and she went, everyone was lied, everyone voted for the wrong thing in Brexit. Why? What was that? Immigration. What? So it weren't an issue to you? She went, no. And I went, but it is an issue. I can prove it to you. It is an issue. So she's got me video. She probably signed up to my YouTube. So I hope she watches my video on immigration. And I tried to explain to her that at one time immigration was at a nice level. Even I was satisfied. But then mass immigration's come, and it's not at a nice level. The Tories have failed us for 20 years, this past 20 years, with their net migration targets. And we've been failed by the globalists, the EU and all that, through letting all the European poor people into our country as well. So immigration is a big thing. Don't let anyone ever tell you that it isn't. They're only saying that because that's the biggest thing going on these days is immigration, and people don't like it. And it's not just it. You know, when you talk, you know, when I first got into voting and in Oldham and supporting people, it was UKIP, and the first guy I worked with was a Pakistani-born Pakistani man who didn't want immigration from Europe, Eastern Europeans. And you know what? I supported him on his candidacy just for that one thing because it's killing Oldham. Oldham has the most Europeans coming to it than any other place in the country, and they're all poor. It's causing crime, more benefits. There's no work for these people. They're not skilled or anything like that. You're just adding to our economy. And right now, in Oldham, Eastern Europeans and this Pakistani guy saying the same as me as well with that particular thing. And that's to do with mass immigration and the EU. Oh, you just couldn't make it up. But the most people I met in Batley were nice. And they're all nice, even the ones who had a different opinion than me were nice, and I've well enjoyed it in Batley. So I mean, I'll go there again definitely. I'll certainly go. But Wakefield's going to be the next place. Wakefield's going to be the next smashing, booming thing going on. Now it's going to be Wakefield. It's killing my living, John. Immigration, Stephen. Yeah, Yvonne, more knife crime, gun crime, board, EU immigration. We've got the Albanian drug dealers in now. Just the other month, I reported on a case where they've gone and executed a guy over his weed grow, and it's just getting worse. And I think a lot of the crimes that Greater Manchester Police haven't reported will be linked to people like that. That's what I think. Will be linked to people like that. I'm not having this computer system failure because remember, they didn't report 38,000 crimes in 2016. So it's been 5 years and it took them that long to get a computer system in. So I'm not having that excuse. The excuse I'm having is that they're trying to cover up crimes so that it doesn't show how bad things have gone on in Greater Manchester, such as Eastern European immigration. And I'm not being racist or anything, but they're unskilled and they've got no money. And unskilled people and people who don't work there's more likely stuff to do with crime, then there's more benefits, more strain on our health service and our normal services and stuff like that. And I think that the police don't want you to report some crime because 2017, the Limeside area, or it might have been about 2018, and a woman had a pram grabbed with bags on it from near the Asda. When she did a post on Facebook, the police come round and told her to take the post off because it said that the people who did the crime were Eastern Europeans. You know, so you can't say anything about, you know, the guy who robbed me was like black. Well, you can't say that. You just got to say he's a guy. Well, no, I'm not telling you what colour he was. Or I'm telling you if he spoke in an English accent. What you have to don't be politically correct. It's just not right. I mean, I talk about political correctness, and we've all done it. Everybody in this chat has been politically correct one time or another. Might not realise it, but including me. I'm not saying I've been politically correct, and we all would have done it one time or another. The quicker we realise how political correctness divides us, and how successful it's used as a tool by the elite, the sooner we can get out of that rut. And I'm never going to not call out political correctness, and that's what I did in Batley and got a bit of attention for it. But anyway, so we're on 4 o'clock, I'll just go through chat. Oh, yeah, critical race theory, Lee Henry. Yeah, that's been talked about a lot. Off everybody has been talking about it. But I mean, to get into critical race theory, you've got to go back to the people who made it. That's the worst thing. And it just takes you down a whole new rabbit hole opened up. A whole new rabbit hole, I tell you. A whole new rabbit hole that takes you down. So, right, I just want to put a little clip of a video up. This guy was in Batley, showed his face. A lot of you will already know who he is. So, right, so I'll play the video. So they're having a little protest. We've gone over. He's been arguing with some lad who's from Stockton. Then he starts on me. And at the moment, he's talking to a gay refugee. It might be Syrian or something like that. Refugee who come to support Amory Waters for Britain party because it was gays against Sharia, and he knows what Sharia do. So that's who he's talking to. And I think this is a clip where he says, "If you're with them, then you're a neo-Nazi." So he's calling a gay refugee who speaks, well, fairly good English, a little bit broken, and he's calling him a Nazi. Let's see if it'll work.
What church? With our words? Where you come in and you say nonsense, don't you? Yeah, you're homophobic, aren't you? That's right. You're homophobic. It's the police thing. They think they're refugees. They're not homophobic. It's the homophobic. You're not.
That's why I'm standing with gays against Sharia.
You're not against Sharia.
So Tommy English is gay. I want him jail.
So he took down my thing there because he couldn't take it. And he's a well-known lefty piece of filth scumbag. But yeah, he couldn't make it up. The guy who was calling was a refugee. He was gay and he come to support gays against Sharia. And he come on the demo, went round the demo with us, and we chatted with him after. And he even come to what's that bar now in Stockton, the one for veterans, the Don Bar. He even come to the Don Bar. With us, and he was supported. And he went up to try and tell that Yanis about, but they don't want to lift. The lefties don't want to listen to it. The lefties are not going to have anything. And he called him homophobic, then he called him a Nazi. You just couldn't make it up. But he's a nasty man, that Yanis. He's been done for bullying, and he got sacked from his job, but he did get it back. But just let me read. Another fine mess. Once again, the SWP is embroiled in a scandal over historic sexual misconduct, reports Paul Demerty. A few weeks ago, we had cause to raise an eyebrow at the Socialist Workers' Party coverage of the conviction of Harvey Weinstein. The comrades were in raptures at the outcome, as they always likely to be. As soon as the Me Too movement kicked up into gear, Social Workers' Party instinct to tail any movement, whatever, in the hopes of recruiting a few members, necessarily dragged it along in the wake of Weinstein's victims. And it just goes on to tell you about the misogyny, the bullying and stuff like that in the Socialist Workers' Party. And I've talked about this many a times. I've linked it up with Unite the Union, another party that don't have any rights for women. I had my friend Jan Cruikshank on, and the Unite the Union, she got a payout, but she's lit. She can't say anything. She has visits off the police all the time. Then they deny they've come round. They harass her all the time and stuff like that, just for speaking out as a survivor. And through these lefty organisations like Unite the Union, but they've got money. They've got money and power. But it just goes on to say a lot about Eunice's his situation and stuff like that. And it goes on to set the imprint of this kind of thing within the party. So I can easily see where people are threatened to silence off these kind of scumbags. You know what I mean? We just need more transparency. But yeah, so he with Yanis with her, showed his face, and on my video in Batley, you can hear me walk after him. So have you been arrested for anything? Yeah, you're a criminal. You're the attacker and the aggressive person. Nasty piece of work, Him. Nasty piece of work. Thank you, Daniel. It's just unbelievable. It is, guys. Honestly. So yeah, looking like Wakefield next by-election, and I'm definitely going to be at court on Wednesday in Bradford. I'm going to get the train up. It's not a big journey for me, and get to court spot there. So hopefully it'll be nice. And I'm hoping to see a load of patriots up there, especially the couple of girls I mentioned earlier on, who were really full of good information. And they've got their ears on the ground in Bradford, so they know what they're talking about. And these are the kind of people who are invaluable in our cause, because as soon as I find something out and we've got evidence of it, I'll call it out. Whether it's in the public domain or not, I will call it out. Honestly, I will call it out. Obviously, we've got to be careful of reporting restrictions on court cases and that, which I do. I never mention anything if a court case is on that's not already in the public domain. But after the court cases, I mentioned a load of things that have not been in the public domain and stuff like that relating to cases. But yeah, so be in Bradford on the 7th, and I want to get to the Bradley Gledhill murder sentencing on the 30th of July, where the Carolia brothers and the other people involved are getting the sentencing. And I've said this, and I think there's going to be a protest on behalf of the killers, actually, at Leeds. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll try and get there, and I want to do a bit of reporting on that. So yeah, it's definitely. I think the next election's in Wakefield. I'm backing the George Galloway and English Democrats Daddy Dragon Tresius take the nominating officer to court, and we have rights. I don't think we should have been kicked out of the car park at the Counts Hall. And it is right, if something's being used for something to do with the public, it's public ground, whether it was private or not. I'm sure I'll check on that, but I'm positive that is correct. So yeah, so Wakefield coming up. Don't know when that'll be, but it will be coming up. Not sure when the guy's in court. Let me just check, see if he's in court. So the MP, people already knew what was happening, but the courts put a block on identifying, but now they said he can be identified, and as a Conservative member of Parliament. And apparently he's touched a boy aged 15, and that touching was sexual when he did not consent, and you do not reasonably believe that he was consenting, contrary to Section 3 Sexual Offences Act. So it's got to be looked into. So if he gets kicked off as an MP, then there's going to be a by-election in Wakefield. So that's where I'll be spending my time. Right, I'm going, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. Big John here. Like I said, I'll be in Bradford on the 7th. I think Amanda Yorkshire Rose is going. And we've got 29 scumbags going up. And it's half an hour. 15 one day and 15 the next. But I'll certainly be there on the 7th. So watch for my live stream. And I'll probably be live streaming from early as well. I'll probably set up a stream anyway. Pre-set up a stream. And we'll find out. I'll see if I can find out more about the case. The charges going up. My two girls who are coming, who will probably be there, they will have some info. So I'll see what they've got, and we'll try and give you a bit more info about the particular case. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget, if you don't, thank you, Robbie, thank you. Don't forget, if you don't vote already, think about voting. I know some people think it's rubbish, but it isn't always. And if you're going to stand up as a candidate, as long as I'm not running myself, I will give any patriot who I know support, and I'll help them out. I'll be their account agent. I'll come up. I'll knock on doors with them. I'll do that. So think about it. If you want to think about being a candidate, if I can get a list together next time people are running, and we can get people helping people in different areas, it's as simple as that. Obviously, the mainstream parties have shitloads of money, so we're going to have to make new things up ourselves. This hustings thing as well. This hustings. If they're not going to invite us, then we'll do our own actions and we'll do our own things. And that will mean going to hustings and calling them out in the hustings, because I will. If I'd have been there that day in the square when Lawrence Fox and George Galloway were talking, I would have called them all out for not inviting everyone else. But it wasn't up to them. The people who organised the hustings, let me just... the people who organised the hustings was an organisation called British Muslim TV or something like that. So we know why they're not going to invite certain people. But that's going to change. We're not having that. It's going to change. I will be pushing for, if you have a hustings, you have to have all the candidates there. Simple as. That's how you have to sort out to have all the candidates there. So Deborah Abrams, Labour lot, don't think you're going to have hustings without having other candidates there. I mean, and it's nothing to do with right wing as well. They might say we're not having the far right parties with us. In Oldham, there was a Jamaican girl I knew who run against Deborah Abrams, and that she only invited to one hustings out of 4. And she wasn't no right winger. She wasn't no EDLer or anything like that. But they didn't invite her. They only invited her to one hustings out of 4. And this is Deborah Abrams' constituency. They've got all the details and everything, just one hustings out of 4. Well, if you're going to do that in Oldham, just be prepared for Big John to turn up with a fucking protest outside that hustings, and I'll get them shut down, me. That's what I'll do. If you don't invite all the candidates, I'm going to shut your hustings down. Let's get on that. I'm going to shut you down. All right, I'm going to shut you down. But anyway, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. I'll catch up with you all soon. It's looking like it's gone a bit nice today. Yes, English Patriot. Thank you, guys. I'll catch up with you all soon anyway. Watch out for me streaming. Again, I'll be definitely streaming Wednesday, Bradford Magistrates. Have a good afternoon, good evening, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you very much.